Hey guys, thanks for joining. It's your girl, author Nicole D. Miller, popping in for our Word of the Day Wednesdays. As you guys know, every week I piggyback off of my latest blog. The last blog I wrote is called From Anointed to Appointed. Before I go there, let me first remind you guys of my debut novel, When Love Wins. When Love Wins is an urban Christian fiction tale of two young female cousins with a rift in their relationship. When Natalie, the faith based social justice advocate writer, loses her mother, she moves in with her cousin Ashley in hopes of support for her grief. But instead of a warm welcome, she receives an icy cold one from Ashley. Is there more to the story? There is, of course, and you can learn more at whenlovewins.love. So, my last blog, From Anointed to Appointed, is basically piggybacking off of the story of David, and I share about how David was actually anointed. The biblical scholars estimate the time of him being anointed king around ages 10 to 15. The thing is, this man did not become king until he was 30 years old, which means he was waiting for at least 15 years. And, it's hard to grasp those numbers sometimes. My own journey of waiting, I think about it and I'm like, where did life go? But the thing that I say in the blog is that David wasn't just twiddling his thumbs. The things that he was going through were actually preparing him for his promise. And I don't want this to be like some pat Christianese answer to difficult times that we go through by any means. I just kind of want to share a little bit of the perspective I feel like God is giving me um, from my own journey of having promises spoken over my life and seeing those promises manifest at a much later date. So with David, he was being attacked by King Saul. It was very, sad to even just read about it because he was so good-hearted and he really had the heart of God, and he was trying to protect, the Israelites and fight for Saul and all those things. And the very one that he actually played his music for and helped deliver was coming after him. And I'm sure some of you guys could probably relate to that. But what I share in my own story of waiting is fresh out of college. And you guys may know I went to Miami University. Shout out to Redhawks. But I went to Miami University, and after graduation, I found myself in a series of tests and trials, and that was a very difficult season for me. And I just kept comparing my season with my peers, and I wasn't understanding why I wasn't landing on my feet like they seem to be financially. And what I can see now is that even though I wanted what they had, I didn't personally have certain development in my character that I felt like some of them had because they had less traumatic backgrounds. So I'll say I definitely needed to develop an emotional intelligence. I needed to cultivate my people skills. I mean, honestly, a lot of that has come through entrepreneurship and forcing myself to be in social social experiences and environments and networking. But I'll just say, like, I was very talented and gifted, and that was a prophetic word I received when I was younger. But I needed my character to match my gifting, right? And so I think we see this often in the world because our culture does glorify and glamorize gifts. And we do this with celebrities and stars, or even social media, where you're only seeing the aesthetics or appearance of a person and you're not diving deep into the mindset of a person, the morals of a person, the heart or intent of a person. And so I went through those tests and trials, but I can see, as painful as they were, because they were painful, I can see how they developed me. I can see how I learned from them. I can see how I'm a better person from them. And so I just share that because I know some of us are kind of going through some things and we're kind of like, when is it going to happen, Lord? You said this and this and this. And one of the analogies I also used in the blog is riding a bike. And I talk about how like no one ever just starts off riding a 10 speed. Maybe you got a few of y'all who just jumped on a two wheeler without the training wheels. I mean, more power to you. But I was that one who definitely had the training wheels. And then I share about, because I was born in Toledo, and so I have childhood memories of being in Toledo. And I share about the neighborhood kids teaching me how to ride this bike. I'm thinking, like, where was my mom? But who knows? But I'm thinking about them teaching me how to ride the bike. And the very next day, I get the guts to get out there on my own and ride my bike on my own without my training wheels. And everything is going fine as I'm rolling downhill in this wide driveway because we lived in an apartment complex. So it's the driveway going into the complex. And I'm flying free until I smack dab into a parked vehicle. Thank God it wasn't moving. I just thought about that. Like, that would have been horrible. Smack dab into a parked vehicle. Blood is everywhere. And the weird thing is, I don't see, I'm not like into anatomy or like I don't know the human body like that. But there was yellow coming out of my ankle as well. It was like my ankle. I've had so many things with my ankle since I was a kid. But it was like blood and something yellow. I just remember it looking like ketchup and mustard, and I was so confused. And I ran to a neighbor. And looking back now, I'm like, wow, we must have been a close knit community because I went to a random neighbor's house or apartment. So, long story short, what I say is I feel like that's a good picture that if we are promoted too quickly, i.e., get on our bikes without the training wheels too fast, something or someone can get hurt. And we ourselves can get hurt. And that is something that I have to remind myself of when I feel like, Lord, what is happening with this promise? What is happening with your word? I don't see manifestation. And I'm reminded of the scripture, he will withhold no good thing from us. And sometimes that can be frustrating because you're like, but this is a good thing. You ain't giving it to me. But because he knows the timing of everything, sometimes we can get hurt. And honestly, me having my pet, I'm a cat mom. Me having BJ has taught me so much, about how God views me. And since I don't have children, I feel like he's like the closest thing. And it's like I don't let him do certain things that he wants to do, but it's because I'm trying to protect him. It's not because I'm trying to be mean. So, anyways, those are a few of the nuggets. If you can relate, tap into the blog from Anointed to Appointed at NicoleDMiller.com. Please like, save, share. All right, so there are a few things happening, you guys. Honestly, I feel a little emotional. You guys know I just got my award from Career Master. I got the Emerging Leader Award. Woo-hoo! Very excited, very honored. Still kind of surreal. It's like, really, I'm getting awards. So that was amazing. Now I'm an award winning author. And I need you to vote for me for the author of the year. So the Stiletto Boss Foundation has nominated me to be author of the year in Cleveland. It is only for 2 more days. Like I think the 31st is the last day to vote. You have to vote every 24 hours, so it's not every day. You have to actually wait for a full 24-hour window. But you can do that for me. The link is in my bio on Instagram at HTOHB, and it's pinned at the top of my Facebook pages. So that's another thing. Then we had the Fire Chat Live last night with Rasa San, hosted by Masa Ray, presented by Digital C at Midtown Tech. Beautiful, beautiful conversation, intimate gathering. Just being able to tell my story is like wild to me because it has been a step by step thing. I believe it was Martin Luther King Jr. who said, faith is taking the first step without seeing the full staircase. And that's how I feel like becoming a writer and a publisher has been. Like, I did not see this. I didn't see being an award winning author and being a publisher of 4 books and an ebook and a hybrid publisher. Like, all this that's coming out of this, being a journalist. Had no idea. But I said yes. What I really, really felt strongly about was that God was asking me to dive into the creative space, to push forward with my book, Stories for the Urban Soul, and to be all in. And once I made that choice, that is when the doors flew open. And it was not an overnight process. I have been publishing for 10 years, and it also is not where it's going. But I can see so much fruit. I can see so much encouragement. I can see so many more opportunities, a lot of growth and increase. So that brings me to another opportunity, and I don't know where my girl is, but I think she's supposed to be tapped in here. And maybe I can, before I get into that, you guys, I'm going to try to see. I don't know how this works. This is how you know I'm getting up there. Oh, there she is. All right, so I'm going to invite my girl and see if she pops in because we just had our interview drop with the legendary Butch Reynolds. So, my girl Alicia Ellis, who's the leader of Mas she's supposed to tap in here. Hopefully, she makes it. Other than that, we are gearing up for our next Girl Talk. You guys, I'm blown away by Girl Talk. Okay, it is another thing that I did not see the big picture. I feel like I only be seeing a part, and then I'm faithful with that part, and then God like illuminates the rest. And so, Girl Talk is definitely that. As you guys know, I started Girl Talk 2 years ago. Actually, it was like May 2022. No, it was March because it was Women's History Month. March 2022, and we did our first topic, which was, Are you a feminist? And I just pulled all the women in my life together. And one of the things I knew God was saying is like, what's in your hand, Nicole? Like, what do you have? And what I knew I had was women. I have so many women in my life. And they're all heavy hitters and leaders and phenomenal. So it was like, that was easy, you know. But that kicked off something. It kicked off the start of creating a space that allows female leaders to edify one another through sisterhood. And that is such a gift I have. I'm such a recipient of it. And it's been such a lifeline in my faith journey. So being able to offer that to other women, especially in our community, is an honor. So the next Girl Talk, save the date, is June 23rd. We will be rolling out the flyer links and info this week, so stay ready, stay tuned. And we have a special guest feature. So I'm so excited about this, special guest. She's a beautiful spirit. I was drawn to her immediately, and I definitely feel like we can learn a lot. So the topic is going to be doing it all. The funny thing is, I specifically handpicked these women who fit this space of doing it all, right? So they're mothers, they're wives, they're romantic partners, they're leaders in the community. They've scaled to a certain level that I'm not at yet. And so I don't feel like I'm really a part of the conversation. Like, normally I am, but this is also for me to elevate. So I'm in a place of always wanting to grow and elevate myself. So stay tuned for that. I will drop that this week. And if you are not subscribed to my newsletter, please subscribe because that is where you will get all the tea. Speaking of my newsletter, that will be dropping in a few days as well. So you can subscribe at NicoleDMiller.com. All right, so Alicia is not available, so I'm just going to give you guys the tea that we just dropped the article that I wrote from Masleray called Butch Reynolds Achieves Negative Split on and Off the Track. So, for those of you who don't know, Butch Reynolds is an Olympic gold medalist. He's a sprinter. He was legendary in the 80s and 90s. And the sad thing is that he actually um, was falsely accused of taking steroids. And so the beautiful thing is, I mean, this man is, I don't even have the words for the type of endurance that he's exhibited in his life, both personally and athletically. But he has a film out, and it's called False Positive. But the film was featured at the Cleveland International Film Festival, and Alicia's organization, Masleray. Oh, there she is. Alicia, I was just trying to add you here. You made it.
Hair looking crazy.
Did you see that I added you?
Yes, but
Okay.
I wasn't looking at my phone. I'm like, I was in just trying to make this graphic for like 5 minutes, so my bad.
That's okay. I was just telling our viewers about the Butch Reynolds experience. So go ahead and kick us off with your perspective.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm happy we did this. What is this called? When you don't plan it,
Spontaneous.
spontaneous. Quick get together here to talk all things the Butch Reynolds interview.
Yeah.
Man, I figured it would be good to chat why our emotions are raw and
I can
high.
tell you are
First, I
high.
wanted to thank you for your fabulous writing. I'm just blown away by what God is really doing. So, first, I want to thank you for jumping in this craziness with me.
Well, thank you for asking me. As we both know, initially I was like, I don't know. So I'm grateful that I said yes. And it really is a faith journey because, like I said, I have no training in journalism. I'm like, Jesus taught me. And the Land 6 week course, I use some of those tips in that article. But I think it's just both of our stories are a testament to what happens when you just say yes to the thing in front of you. Like, you just don't know where it will go.
You just don't know. I think that's a perfect thought in the sense of I guess I didn't know either. So it was just like, listen, this is what I want to do. This is our first time doing it, so let's figure it out as we go.
Yeah.
And
And that's what
that's
I love
pretty
about you
much
too, Alicia. You're such a big picture person. And I was telling my viewers, like, I'm not, like, I feel like God will give me the step. Like Martin Luther King Jr. said, faith is taking the first step and you don't see the whole staircase. I look at my journey and I'm like, yep, it's step by step by step. I don't know where it's going. And as I take that step, it unfolds. But I feel like you be seeing like the bigger picture and you're like, okay, let's leap. I'm just like,
yes,
and I'm holding
yes,
on
and
to
it's
the
funny
rail.
because I'm realizing that that's a unique gift for me, and I have to paint the picture for other people. So, like when I for the Cleveland International Film Festival. So, thank you all for joining in. We're talking about all things Cleveland International Film Festival and our new article that just dropped today, covering Olympian gold medalist Butch Reynolds'
You
life
can't
and
even say
death.
that normally. It's like Olympic gold medalist Butch Reynolds.
Yeah, it's like something light on a Wednesday.
Remember how we were sitting there? Remember how we were sitting there? We didn't know we were getting into. And he gets on stage and we're just like, what? Like, what is happening?
What is happening? So I just want to kind of paint the picture real quick. So most of you guys know we got invited to be a media partner for the Cleveland International Film Festival. This is their 48th one. Like they've been around the block, obviously, for almost a half of a century.
Older than
And
us.
what was that?
Older than us.
Older than us. Literally, yeah, literally older than us. Um, and my story came in as a media partner, and so I'm just like, bet, like what we about to do? And there were so many films. I mean, over 300 films um, were featured for the live festival, which ended up being like I want to say over 8 days, maybe it was like 10 days. And so I got original list of films that were curated just for our platform to help promote and feature. And then we started getting inquiries from once your company goes live as like a media partner, people get access to that list, all the film directors, actors, anyone that's going to be there premiering. So then we started getting these inquiries, and like the week before, I'm like, okay, it became a list over 30 plus films, and I'm like, okay, there's no way. I'm one person. I don't have the capacity to cover all these, but I started going through. I'm like, okay, let me like narrow down the list of like films that meet our mission, films that resonate with who we are and shedding more light. So I narrowed down the list. I tapped in with Nicole. I'm like, Nicole, there's no way we can cover all these. Would you come in as a collaborator with us to maybe do some written format interviews? And she was like, I don't really know. What does this entail?
Yeah.
So our conversation went on, but I convinced Nicole to jump in with us. Um, I don't take no. Most of y'all know I don't take no lightly. So I'm just like, no, I think you should really do this. So I don't know, Nicole, if you want to jump in, maybe on like your first thoughts.
Yeah. I just know that journalism is a different beast when it comes to writing. It is a technical genre. It takes more energy from me. It's not like creative writing where you just flow and you're willy nilly or blogging. So I knew it would take research. I knew it would take work and a certain level of energy. And I just wanted to make sure it would be worth it, to put that type of effort in. So clearly it is, but that was the part that I was like, I just needed to be worth it.
Right. Yeah, and for me, I'm just like, girl, this is like, we just gotta write. That's it. I'm thinking like, this is what you do. Like, this is we gonna figure it out. Let's just go. So we went. We went
we
to
went
the opening
we went
night
on my
premiere
birthday.
on your
So that was
birthday.
another confirmation.
Wild, just wild. I mean, and it just felt like I don't know about you, but I felt like royalty pulling up in there. Like we here.
Yeah. And I love, love, love the films that you picked that I wrote because they totally resonated with my personal brand values, my personal experiences, all about the culture, all about the faith, all about overcoming adversity. So I was just soaking it all up like, yep, this is for me.
This is it. This is it. So the festival went on. We ended up doing a live pop up podcast. We interviewed a few different folks there all day. And then Nicole and I viewed a few of the premieres together to write. And one of the films were is the world premiere of the 30 for 30 ESPN special documentary covering Butch Reynolds' story.
We just
And
happened to cover a world premiere documentary for ESPN, you know.
that's
that's
right.
that's what we do.
We here and we both looked at each other like, what is happening right now? I'm like, this is gonna be huge. And so we watched the full premiere that is actually coming out on June 11th. So we're gonna be sharing everything leading up to that and getting folks access to the full documentary. But it was just amazing. I mean, I definitely know I was moved during the
Yeah.
documentary. We literally are sitting like right next to Butch. He's like an aisle across from us, and I'm like watching him react to his own film and his own story for the first time. He hadn't seen the final cut,
Hmm.
so everything was just like raw. It was just there in
Yeah.
our face, and it was just amazing. I don't think we can. If we could rewrite it, I don't think we can write it that good.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting when you talk about the writing part, that title, Butch Reynolds achieves negative split on and off the track, like instantly hit me. But he says it in the documentary, they talk about this negative split, which I wasn't privy to. I'm not an athlete, my background isn't running. But a negative split is when the second half of your race is faster than your first. That was my 41st birthday. I knew God was giving me a word that my second half of my race would be better than my first. So I was taking it personal, but he was so inspirational because the levels of adversity this man has went through and is still going through is supernatural and is inspiring. And I just felt like that's what God wanted to honor him in that article, like applaud him, like that in his personal life he achieved that. And he idolizes Jesse Owens, and he talked about it in the documentary that Jesse Owens was able to demonstrate this personal morale in his life as well as being a great athlete. And so he looked at his personal life and his athletic ability as being honorable, but that's what Butch Reynolds carries. And that's what I wanted to really convey in the article was that this man is an overcomer, is an award recipient in the heavens and in the earth. So that was the goal.
Yeah, and it's so powerful. The article dropped, the editorial review article dropped today. It's live on our website, masleray.com, /news, and it's written by yours truly, Nicole D. Miller. Did a phenomenal job on the flow. Um, we got in touch with ESPN to get exclusive photos for
Alicia got in touch with ESPN.
I was just like, we out here.
Alicia is
Yeah,
connected to ESPN, you guys.
nuts. I'm just like, listen, I felt like I was a journalist. I was investigating, like, who do I need to talk to get this what we need? And because originally we were supposed to drop this like 2 weeks ago,
Mm,
and
mm-hmm,
not before then. And I'm just
mm-hmm.
like, no, just like let's get what we need to make it fully right. And I'm so thankful that we did because doors just
Yeah.
kept opening up and opening up. And I actually got re in touch. I got touched back with Butch, and we shared the post today. So if you guys want to
Yeah.
go check it out, breaking news on the Mosqueray platform, featuring Butch's story that
Mm-hmm.
is just like amazing. I can't wait to
Yeah.
actually rewatch it again now,
Yeah.
kind of on the other side of it, because it's just
Yeah.
amazing.
Because I was taking notes during it, so I wasn't
Yes.
fully.
Yep.
But what
So
I
we
want
were
to
in there.
say is he was just so gracious to us. I mean, so many people were at his like at him like after the
Yeah.
film, like throngs. And we waiting, just trying to get this interview, and everybody wanting pictures, and but he was so gracious. He gave us the time and space, and Alamin, the director, like all of them. The favor of God, I'm just grateful for that. So
What was that last part?
oh, just said the favor. I'm grateful for the favor of God,
Yes.
cause
Favor.
yeah,
Favor. I'm like, never saw this man before. I'm just like, we need to find him and get this interview. And it felt like the longest interview ever. And it was
it
short
was
and
five. It was
sweet.
like 5 minutes. Yeah,
This is wild. No,
yeah.
it was an amazing experience, and I'm just thankful and grateful to for what God is doing. And I wanted to just jump on and share some of this. I hope we can do a couple more of these as we continue to launch into so many different things that we're doing together. Um,
Partners in purpose. We're back.
Partners in purpose. Yes. So you guys go right now,
Mhm.
go to masleray.com, check out the full article, like it, share it with your friends and family. This is also a hometown hero, being from Akron,
Yeah.
legendary, literally track record for being a runner, and we just want to continue to support him and support the cause of justice and continuing to amplify his voice during this time to get the justice that he deserves, and continue just to honor him.
So, did we say the movie is False Positive? I don't know if we said the title.
False positive.
False
Yep.
Positive, dropping June 11th on ESPN.
Yep. Dropping
Yeah.
June 11th, ESPN 30 for 30 documentary.
Should we do a little party? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna try to keep
I
it
know.
on the playlist.
Because we could go to a bar or something and invite people. Look, I'm
Yeah,
trying.
we can do like a watch party.
We could. We could do a watch party. All right, stay tuned, y'all, for that.
Stay tuned, y'all. All right, I'm peacing out. Thanks, Nicole.
All right, bye bye. Okay, so that was the Alicia Ellis jumping in on my live to tell you guys about the new release of the article I wrote for Masseray. Butch Reynolds achieves negative split on and off the track at masseray.com. So a lot of beautiful things happening, you guys. I'm really, really overwhelmed. I'm so encouraged. I'm so blessed. And it's just getting started. It's just getting started. So if you feel like you're in a difficult season, if you feel like it feels never ending, if you feel like you're just head to the ground on the ground trying to get through it, trust me, I've been there. I'm still in there in some seasons or areas of my life. What I will say is every season does end. So going back to my blog, one of the things I share is how God is using prophetic numbers to speak to me. And that's a new space. I haven't been in that space before. Not at this level for sure. And one of the numbers he's really highlighting to me is the number 23. And what I see is years ago when I was in that waiting season, it ended, well, there was a holdup before I transitioned. So there was opposition on February 23rd in 2007 in my career. And then there was a release and promotion. Um, I think it was April 23rd, 2007 in my career. And so it was really that number 23. And at the time, I was 23 years old. I turned 24 in April. But it was just God showing me that the times and seasons of my life are dictated. They are appointed. They are set. They are set. And I just have to flow in that divine flow, and know that every season does end. So we're rejoicing now, but trust me, we done paid our dues, and in some ways, we're still paying them. So just be encouraged, that the best really is around the corner. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in to Word of the Day Wednesdays, and I will see you next week.